Hey there, so I'm going to show you a way to memorize the neck of the guitar. And so after you watch this video, you'll know all the notes on the neck and you'll be able to build your own chords and your own scales. So first of all, do you need to know the notes at all? Well, yes, it is crucial because it's the basis for everything from chord construction through improvising. And even more importantly, it really helps you communicate with other musicians who aren't guitar players. The good news is, you actually know more than you think, but you just need to create some signposts to help you know where you are at all times. In music, you've got 7 notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's the musical alphabet. And in between, you've got the sharps and flats and so on. But let's start on the 6th string here. If you figure out the names of the notes on these dots, you've got G, A, and B. And then on the 5th string, you've got C, D, and E. So just start by memorizing those. G, A, B, C, D, E. So that's all the natural notes except F. Now the cool thing about the guitar is it's kind of divided into string sets. So you can play the exact same notes on the 4th string on fret 5, and you've got that same set of notes, G, A, B, C, D, E. So you've got G, A, B down here, G, A, B, C, D, E. And then right here, G, A, B, C, D, E. So you're starting to create these signposts. Now, the reason that works is because the way the guitar's tuned, those notes there are an octave apart. So octaves are this shape here, just like West Montgomery. Let's jump up to the next set. So if you start on the 8th fret this time and go all the way up to the double dots here on 12, so you've got G, A, B, and C, D, and E. So right there, you've got G, A, B, C, D, E, jump up an octave, starting on the 5th fret, G, A, B, C, D, E, then jump up to the 8th fret, G, A, B, C, D, E. So that's all your natural notes except for F, but we'll get to F in a minute, across the neck of the guitar. G, A, B, C, D, E, G, A, B, C, D, E, G, A, B, C, D, E. So once you have those notes figured out and signposted, you can figure out any other note really easily. So for example, if you're on G and you need to go to F, just go down. But you can do it here as well. There's your other G. Just go down a whole step. Or up here on the 8th fret. So there's all your Fs. If you need to find a B flat, go to your B. Go down a half step. Go to your B here. And so on. So you can figure out any note really easily. And it's just a question of being kind of tuned in to these basic natural notes. G, A, B, C, D, E. It's kind of a cool exercise just to do that. But then just what you can do is just kind of jump around, like just randomly play a note. A, G, D, B, you know, it's like a little game. It's a good exercise. And then you can start to get a little more complicated by doing the in-between ones. D sharp, B flat. So let's talk about the next thing, which is intervals, which are really the building blocks of music. So intervals are all about the distance between notes, and they shape chords, scales, and melodies. And by mastering these, you'll be able to really create and understand music. It's really going to revolutionize your playing. Let's start on an A note. And we're going to start by learning all the intervals just around that root note. And then once you've learned it once, these interval shapes are transferable into any key. So the first one is the octave, as we've already said. And then you can have fifths as well, which is like this. But let's look at some of the more interesting intervals. So let's get down here. You got 1 fret. That's called a minor second or a flat second. And that is a very sinister sound. You know, it's like the Jaws theme, or it's used a lot in metal because it's a kind of a dissonant sound. But it's also, you know, Stevie Ray Vaughan uses that, and he'll actually use that. Here's the root note, and he'll actually use that note as kind of like a passing tone. And you can also think of that as a flat 9 note as well. But that's a great sound. So there's your minor second. Then your major second. It's a very happy sound. It's a very stable sound. You can almost add a major second to any chord or any scale, and it always sounds good. You know, Jimi Hendrix did that a lot, where he would take major chords and he would add in a second right here. You know, you could do it in the bass like this. It'd be kind of cool. but he would add it right here on top. Anything you ever play on a 6th string is the same on the 1st string as well. So if I play a 2nd right here, same thing. So adding a 2nd on top of chords, you get this kind of sound. You can play on minor chords. Andy Summers from The Police liked to use 2nds a lot. You know, that sound there is going up an octave, and then you're adding add 2 in there, or a 2nd. We could think of it as a 9th too. 2s and 9s are the same things, essentially. All right, minor 3rd is right here, 3 frets apart. That sound is heavy. It's a deep, heavy sound, and it means something important is about to happen. And it's the essence of the minor pentatonic scale, or anything minor. And then you've got the major, the counterpart of that, which is like this. So the major is 4 frets, but you play like this shape here. And that's great for playing harmonies, you know, like think, you know, mixing major and minor 3rds is a really cool way to harmonize with other players, where you can both play one of the notes, or with yourself. You can harmonize scales like that using major and minor 3rds. Okay, 4ths, like this. Think Smoke on the Water. Sound. Hendrix used 4ths a lot as well. So they have a great sound, 4ths. The 4th is almost like the sound of it is almost kind of spiritual sounding. Like, you know, when you play these kind of progressions where you start on the 4 chord. They got a very moving sound. Okay, next one. Flat 5. Purple Haze. But that's a very sinister note. In fact, it's the most sinister note. In the Middle Ages, that interval was banned. They used to call it El Diablo, because they thought it would summon the devil, that sound. You know, think Black Sabbath. So that's a very sinister sound, but that is also the root of the idea of flat 5 subs, which is basically where you can play an A7 chord here. If I just change the root note and go up a flat 5, it makes a nice substitution for that chord. So that's a useful thing. I mean, think kind of like that kind of sound. Flat 5. Like T-Bone Walker. And then you've got the 5th. So aside from the octave, that's the most stable sound of all. Very powerful sound. Power chord. And then you got minor and major 6th. Minor 6th. Major 6th. And they're beautiful sounding, really beautiful sounding intervals, 6ths. But you can also use them, you know, in blues. That's the interval of a 6th. And then you've got a flat 7, which is like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a flat 7. And that note is one of the most important ones. That's the best note. It's a flat 7. That's the sound of rock music. It's all about playing a major chord with a flat 7 in it. That flat 7. There's the octave. Flat 7. So that would be in the key of A. That's a G note. See, when you know the notes, it gives you a different perspective on it. You know you're playing an A chord, and your flat 7 is a G. There it is again. And then last, we've got the major 7, which is a dissonant but not dissonant note, because it's part of the major scale. It's the leading note, and it's that beautiful, it's that note, somewhere over. It's that note there that just is begging to resolve, but it also wants to stay there because it's just a gorgeous note. So those are all your notes. So you've got flat second, major second, minor third, major third, fourth, flat fifth, minor sixth, major sixth, flat 7, major 7, an octave, and then it just repeats again. Minor second, major second, minor third, major third, fourth, flat fifth, it's the blue note. And fifth, then you just keep going up. Minor sixth, major sixth. There's your flat 7, and then major 7, octave. So combining your knowledge of notes and intervals, let's kind of see how it all gets put together. So basically, you know what your notes are now. So you know this is an A note. You know what your intervals are. So now you can start to kind of like build chords, and you can understand what's going on when you're playing scales. Like if you take your basic minor pentatonic scale, which is like this: root, minor third, perfect fourth, fifth, and there's your flat 7. Now you can see why that scale sounds so good, because it's got all these great notes in it. It's got that minor heaviness of the minor, and then it's got the transcendent perfect fourth, the powerful perfect fifth, and then there's that minor 7 or the flat 7, which is the essence of rock and roll. So those are all the notes in a minor pentatonic scale. So they're all very stable, powerful notes, which is why that scale can actually be played over minor chords, but it could also be played over major chords, which is a strange thing, right? But that's the essence of blues, is major chords and then minor scales. Very strange, but amazing. If you start to dive into that idea, it's not just the minor scale. When they get that minor third, they'll actually be pulling it towards the major third. So it's this kind of in between, like the notes in the cracks are the amazing sounding ones. You know, so that minor third, is it major, is it minor when you bend it? It's neither. It's rock and roll. Another thing there is, like when you're playing that minor scale, when you get to that minor third, you can go to the major third. So now you understand why that works and why that sounds cool. Instead of it just being a pattern, you're like, oh, when I go down the minor scale, minor pentatonic, then I hammer onto the major third, it's pulling up towards that major sound. But you can also use this to start building your chords as well. So for example, once you know your intervals, you've got your A chord here, you can start to add any of those intervals to your chord and build all these different chords. So for example, if I want to create a major 7, I'll just go, there's my major 7 note, and just, instead of playing a regular major, just add that. Sometimes you have to detract to add, but you're going to add this note in. So you take your chord here, A major, and then you kind of have to refinger it. You can play like this. Or like this. So that's an A major 7 chord. But it's really just an A major chord. you're adding this note in. Or if we want to add in a sixth, play an A6. How cool is that? What a great sounding chord. Or if you want to get into extended chords, a lot of chords are built around the idea where you take a seventh chord and then you can turn that into a ninth, like when you play ninth, 11th or 13th chords, they're just seventh chords, but you're adding on top of that seventh another interval above that. So for example, 2 and 9 is the same. So to turn an A major chord into a ninth chord, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you can play like this. This is a great way to play it. You can get rid of the root. Or you play like this. Or if you want to play an 11 chord, or a 13th, 13. So you see you can build all those cool chords, 7th, 9th, 13, sorry, 11, 13, and so on. So once you understand those intervals and those chords, you can look at your guitar and you can see with so much more depth what is going on. And you can see, you know, the major, the patterns of the major and the minor, harmonies and the chords and the scales. So understanding these patterns simplifies learning new chords and helps you navigate the neck with confidence. And it's all about seeing the big picture of how everything connects together. So you've got your basic root notes here, G, A, B, C, D, E, G, A, B, C, D, E, G, A, B, C, D, and you can fill in the gaps. And then you've got your intervals, minor second, major second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, flat 5, 5, minor sixth, major sixth, minor 7, major 7, an octave. So that's a wrap on your journey across the neck of the guitar. So remember, spend time with your guitar and soon these concepts will become kind of like second nature to you. So keep playing, keep practicing, and don't forget, turn it up. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe and share this lesson if you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time.